Thanks for joining, guys. So let's do it. There we go. No,
Jakey, how are you?
not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Just went out for a kick of the footy and kicked a few snags from the boundary. So feeling pretty good. How you going?
Yeah, I saw that TikTok. It wasn't the greatest achievement I've seen.
Yeah, it was right in front of the girlfriend as well. So that's I've lost some brownie points there. So
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm still, I guess, digesting the loss yesterday. I listening to your review, I agreed with it a lot. I felt like there were more positives than negatives, but I still think those negatives that we and you drew up were pretty bad, and I think a lot of them is what's holding us back.
100%.
Yeah.
What was the biggest issue yesterday? Because there was a few, but what was like your number one? That's something we need to fix before we can be like a top 8, top 4 team.
I think it's just inconsistency during games.
Yeah.
As you said in the review, we had patches where we looked good and we got our ball movement flowing and everything, but then there were other passages where we made the Eagles look like a top 4 team, which they're not. And yeah, I think it's so frustrating to watch at times because I know how well we can play, and we showed that last year. And I mean, with the trades that we got in this year, I thought we would have upgraded into a better team. And I'm not saying that we're not at this current point, but it's just a frustrating part in our club's history and of this year. So yeah.
Do you think finals is out of the question now? I mean, I don't know. I think Essendon and GWS are playing now. I don't know what the score is, but I know if GWS win, that would be better for us. What do you reckon?
I still want us to have a chance, and I think we have some chance, but I mean, we're gonna have to win the rest of our 4 games to make it, because I think they'll make it 12 and 10, which is still possible, but with our horrible percentage, it's gonna make it even worse. But I mean, we play Carlton next week.
Yeah, I think it might be a Friday night game from what I'm hearing. It might actually be moved.
Yeah, which will be good. I mean, I don't know how well we'll go with a Friday night game, but I don't know if it will bring added pressure or if it will give us a...
Knowing our luck, I think Mackay will come back because he didn't play.
Probably.
And they might bring in Curnow for his first game. That's
probably
like Saints' luck, is when players from other clubs just come back from injury and kick 10. Like Kennedy came back yesterday and he's just kicked 3.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
I feel like we handled their forward line quite well yesterday. I mean, Kennedy and Darling. I mean, Max King kicked as much as they did combined.
Yeah, true.
So I feel like we handled... I mean, Oscar Allen didn't do anything. I think he didn't kick a goal or something.
I saw him play back a little bit. I don't know if that was most of the game, but he was in the back line for a little bit, so they must have just pushed him up the ground.
Which is strange because I mean, Tim Membry's not that tall, and then I mean, Paul Hunter's just Paul Hunter, so he's not.
He kicked a snag though, mate. You can't. He's kicked a touch goal, so
yeah, no, he did his role. I mean, it's hard to fill in for someone like Rowan Marshall, but yeah, I feel like we did a decent job yesterday with their forward line, especially coming off that Port Adelaide game where they had the tools and we let them run rampage over us. I feel like we looked at that during the week and we did better, but I think Curnow and Mackay might be a challenge because I feel like Kennedy and Darling are quite stationary forwards. Like they'll move only to maybe a high half forward or something, but Mackay and Kerno seem a lot more versatile.
Yeah, they're quite mobile, aren't they? When the ball hits the ground, exactly, you have to be as good as you are in the air too. So I don't know if I don't know, maybe Frawley might come in, but you'd think like he's not mobile enough. So I think Highmore's hand will be okay. So that'd be good. So him, Caulfield, Wilkie can handle that. But yeah, it's I don't know. You never know with the Saints, mate. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've really only been getting into this. I mean, I've been a Saints supporter all my life, but you know, over the last 3-4 years, now that I'm in an age where I can actually understand footy and what's going on, you know, it is frustrating, but it's at the same time, it's a great team to go for. But I mean, I feel like it's with most clubs, it's highly frustrating, but it's highly enjoyable at the same time.
Especially for a Saints fan.
Yeah, exactly.
You know more than anyone. But you'd think if do you reckon if Marshall had played yesterday, we win that game? Even the last 2 weeks. I mean, actually, no, he played the week before. But you'd think yesterday with Nat Nui.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, this has been an issue of mine, especially this year. I don't like how we rely on Marshall and Ryder so much. I don't, especially with Ryder's age and his injury that he had after that final last year. I don't want that thought of having to rely on both of them to win us games, especially when over the last couple of years they've both been prone to injury. But yeah, I think if we had Marshall, I mean, from what you've said and from what all the AFL experts say, we seem to be a much better team with him in there. So, and I mean, he played last time we played West Coast and we won.
Yeah, and Paddy didn't. It was Marshall and Carlisle in the ruck.
Oh, it was Carlisle.
That's why I thought we're still a bit of a chance because everyone's like, oh, no, Marshall, no Paddy combo. That means we lose. But we've actually won a game without both of them or without one of them. So it is possible. But I guess it's like any team. When they're missing their best players, if, Richmond with no Dusty, you saw today, like, they're shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and when they don't have Nankervis, they're not much better either.
Yeah, that's the thing. Brisbane, they've been pretty shit since they've lost Hipwood. Yesterday they turned it on, but it took until the second half for it to turn around. So even the best teams struggle with one play. Imagine losing your best ruck, your best small defender, your co-captain, your best clearance mid in Gresham. Hunter Clark goes down for 6 weeks. Paddy and Marshall both in and out. There's so much. But then we get Burns, Connolly, these sort of guys.
I love these 3 youngsters that we have, like Connolly, Burns, and Bytel. They're especially the last couple months, even with Burns and Bytel kind of, and then Connolly in this last month, they just bring this, I guess, explosive kind of young. Well, as they are, they're young, so they bring this explosive young run and gun that I don't think we've had for a little while. But
too. The way they play, I don't know. They just don't like Connolly yesterday. He was on the boundary line, surrounded by 4 West Coast players, and he didn't panic. And he's just like, whatever, I'll just handball backwards or dodge a few, kick it. Some of his kicks were a bit dodgy, but he still took that. He took a bit of risk with it. And that just makes it a bit more unpredictable. But that's the positive for the year anyway for me is, those youngsters. Because without the injuries, you probably don't get Burns and Connolly into the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Claverino, I keep forgetting how to say his damn name, but yeah.
I just stick to Clav. I'm not.
That's actually not a bad idea, man. I might actually stick to that.
Yeah, I'm not good with names either, so I just stick to the shortened abbreviated versions. What did you think of the forward line yesterday?
I thought it was pretty average without Max King. I was like, if we're going to win this, Max King's going to have to kick 11. And he got close. He kicked more than half of that. But, yeah, Membry was pretty down. Dean Kent didn't do much for me. Ben Long tried, but when you miss a goal from the goal line at a critical moment,
that was shocking.
That's kind of his game. Butler was great. I thought Butler was good. Of the year. So King and Butler's best games of the year. I thought was the best part of the forward line. But Marshall would have made a difference. Maybe Gresham coming in, but yeah, I mean Higgins. You can't forget Higgins as well. Missing him, it's a massive
one.
Yeah.
I feel like Membry's been a bit down recently. It's strange because he always seems to be one of Steele. He seems to be one of our most consistent players, and there's just times where he has like a good 5-minute passage where he takes a couple marks, but then 5 minutes further into that quarter, he does one stupid thing, and then he's down on confidence for the rest of the game.
I think he does take a lot of those errors to heart, which is good because he cares, but sometimes he takes it so much to heart that it just puts him down for like the whole quarter until he has the next good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's done more than not this year, so I guess you can forgive him for having like a down quarter or two.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fault his effort. I remember yesterday, I think it was when Billings scored that goal. I think Membry juggled the mark and he dropped it, but he dove straight back onto the ground and got the handball out to Billings, and Billings, I think, scored that goal. So, you can never fault his effort. I mean, just like most of the team, I feel like no matter how good or bad we play, you can never fault most of the boys' efforts. But that I feel like that's also a problem. We think effort is good enough in a sense where it needs to be a combination of effort, but with composure and skill.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That's also another frustrating aspect, especially this season, because I mean, I certainly came into this season expecting to. I don't think I was expecting us to make top 4, but expecting us to make back-to-back final series.
We still can. We still can.
We can. But I mean, look, we should beat Carlton next week. But then we have Geelong, I believe, which I mean, if
Geelong, Freo, so
if we play like we did against Geelong earlier in the year, then and we kick straight, then I think we should win. But we've had a very rough fixture.
We have, but I think this year is just going to be that learning year, and then next year's the year where we hopefully could just be really proactive and get a full team on the field. We've got the youngsters there for some depth, maybe some good trades, maybe Billings out, Dunstan out, and then we'll go full throttle. But I've got one more question for you because we've got to go on.
No worries.
To the next person, but finals, yes or no, mate? What does your gut tell you this year? Is it gone? Are we done, or do you reckon there's still a heartbeat?
Knowing the club, I'm going to have to say I think finals is done, but I definitely don't think it's out of our reach. I mean, if we play like we did against Brisbane and against Richmond, and then those 3 quarters against Collingwood, those string of 3 weeks, I think we can definitely do it. But my gut right now is telling me I think it's over.
All right. Well, appreciate you joining, mate, for the first ever fan cams. It's not live, but this has been good. So hopefully you join for the next one, maybe after the Carlton game.
Yeah, I'm sure I will.
No worries,
cheers,
mate.
Jakey.
Yeah. Bye. All right. Link. Mate. What's going on?
Oh, not much.
Not much. How'd you find yesterday's game?
Frustrating, to say the least.
Yep. What was the most frustrating thing about it?
just gave them too much space when they had the ball.
Yeah, that was the one thing that annoyed me the most. It was more like anytime we kicked it into the 50, they just got that quick rebound out, and you just saw West Coast numbers everywhere with our defenders just trailing.
Mm.
What was your biggest positive?
King.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt King.
And that's about it? Or was there anything else that you could take from the game? I know that, like, a lot of people are upset because we lost. Obviously, you're upset that we lost, but was there more than just King that you were like, oh, well, at least we fought it out. At least we kicked straight. At least, there was a few things there. What do you reckon?
I felt like Zach Jones was one of the only players who wanted to take the game on and willing to take risks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. He had 32, I think. So he was probably behind King for almost best on ground for us. What do you think of Seb Ross?
He was a bit meh.
Yeah, I think he I heard he tagged or he went to Tim Kelly in the second half. Because I know that Kelly, he had about 12 disposals in the second quarter, and that was on Dunstan. They put Seb on him, and he only had 7 for the rest of the game. So you kind of wonder why we didn't do that at the very start.
Yeah.
Were there any players that should have played, do you reckon, or were you happy with the ins and outs? Because I know I'm tipping you probably weren't happy Paul Hunter played.
No.
Nah. Would you rather just Paddy Ryder go at 100% or put someone else in the ruck other than Hunter?
Well, you need support for Paddy Ryder. He can't do it all on his own. I would have preferred Marshall, but I would have liked McKernan or Carlisle, one of the two.
Yeah. I think Carlisle's out for the year, but Frawley could have been an option, or McKernan even, because McKernan can go forward, can't he? So he can also have that, take that extra defender away from King and give him more space.
True.
Are you? I just asked Mo before, but are you of the belief that finals is out of the question?
No, I'm a believer that we can make finals. It's going to be hard, though. Let's be real. It'll be hard, but I'm sure we can do it.
Yeah. Well, do you know the score for the Essendon game? Like right now, I don't know if they're because it's, I think, pretty big. If I did my ladder predictor before, and I had them, if they had have lost this game and we win 3 of the 4 that we've got, and I said that we dropped the Geelong game, that we would make finals, but it was very much dependent on if they lost. And I think they're actually losing right now, which is good.
Yeah.
They're 8 points down.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. What do you make of the year in general? Like
Inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like, we just have a few wins and then we're on and off. I'm like, we pick and choose when we want to win and lose. It just pisses me off, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we've been like that for so long, haven't we?
Yep.
It's classic. That's it. Like every time I think Saints footy, it's like Saints footy is like shit, amazing shit. It just kind of, you don't know what you're going to get, which is good because it's like any game is possible. Like any time we play a good team or a bad team, we can win. But we also, our worst is like worse than anyone else's. Like our worst game is worse than North's, you know.
Oh, fuck off. Shut up. Oh.
Where are you from, mate? Are you a local from Victoria or are you interstate?
Yeah, I'm Aubrey.
Aubrey?
Yeah.
Is it? Nice, yeah. So I guess you haven't been able to go to a game for a while with
No.
everything.
Last time I went to a game was Collingwood St Kilda 2019.
Collingwood St Kilda 20. Was that the Friday night when we lost? No, was that the one where we were close for 3 quarters and then got blown out of the water in the last, the MCG?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jesus.
I remember that. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining, mate. I'm going to get to Isaac, but thanks a lot for joining. If you want to join on the weekend after the Carlton game, just wipe up and we'll have a chat.
Yeah,
Cheers,
definitely.
mate.
Thanks, Jackie.
No worries. See you soon. All right, Isaac, mate. Hey, mate. How's it going?
How's it going?
Not too bad. How you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad. Went to the game yesterday. Wasn't particularly great. I saw the effort was there. Definitely, we were gave it a crack against a real good Eagles side. Obviously, it's not easy playing in Perth, but we gave it a crack. It's just, I feel like the execution of our skills, like the hitting targets and going inside 50 and communicating in defence, was below average, which was disappointing.
Yeah. Well, you would have had. Were you like top level at the ground?
Yeah, we were top.
You would have had such a good view of just the way we were structured. Did you?
Yeah.
How was the back line? Like in the second quarter when they just got a run on? I know on the telly they showed, I think it was Zach Jones who just stood under a ball and didn't go for it, and then Wilkie's just yelled at him.
I remember that.
Did we look really disorganized in the second quarter?
Yeah, we weren't very organized in defense, because it was just, I feel like it was too easy for Kennedy and Darling to get a run at it. Just, we were not really sort of on him. We were just tracking behind him, and obviously the Freo games, the West Coast games, drive it out wide for Kennedy to mark it, and I feel like we weren't aware of that enough because they were doing that multiple times in the first quarter, and they just kept on doing it for the rest of the day. So it's just a lack of sort of getting used to what they're doing and sort of improving on that for next time.
What the hell happened in the last quarter then? You look at the second quarter and then you look at the last quarter and you think, that's a different team. Why did we get within 8 points? What was the difference at the ground? Were we running harder? Did we get more clearances?
I feel like we were sort of working better around the ground. Once we sort of got on a roll of 2 or 3 goals, we sort of realised that West Coast was sort of shuddering. The Saints fans were sort of getting up and about, and we just sort of got on a momentum roll and just Max King was on fire. We started giving a lot more effort throughout the ground, and it just felt like the second quarter, the effort was just nowhere to be seen. We were just giving one effort, and Tim Kelly was racing out of the middle every time, and it's just way too easy, basically.
That gave me nightmares from the game from last year. I don't know if you remember the round 17 game against West Coast, where they pretty much had half their midfield missing, and it was just Tim Kelly, and he just tore us a new one. He just played the best game he's ever played.
Obviously, Nick Nat in the rock was sort of disappointing to have Marshall out, because Ryder had to go with him just about all day because Paul Hunter was in there. Like you were saying on the last chat, I was listening in, I would have loved McKernan to be in there instead of Paul Hunter, considering he's more versatile around the ground too. He can go forward, he can play defence, he can sort of do a job in the rock if he has to as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ryder being in there, he forced to be in the ruck a lot more, and that gave and didn't give us an extra tool inside 50, which I thought also the inside 50 ball was very poor. We from sort of a kick on sort of the edge of the centre square, we kept spreading it wide, which isn't really a smart tactic, even though I'm not really sure why all the blokes are standing out there in the first place, and they should be sort of top of the goal square. It wasn't really great execution from the chances that we had.
No, and every time the ball hit the deck, our smalls weren't really there to do anything. Butler kicked his 2 goals, but they weren't really direct roves, were they? They were kind of, that second one, he ran around Nick Nat Nui and just snapped it from 40 metres. But they just kept rebounding it so easily. And you just wonder, would you have played a Loney ahead of a Dean Kent or anything? Or do you think selection was pretty much, apart from Hunter?
Selection was all right. It's just, I feel like the only thing I would have changed is I wouldn't have played Paul Hunter, which I would have said. It's just like you were talking about, the rebounding was way too easy. We just coughed up the ball way too easy inside 50, and their counter is just way too quick, and we just didn't get back quick enough, basically.
And when they got it down there, we didn't get it to ground enough. Not until the last quarter. And that's when we play our best, because you get Webster, Sinclair. Sinclair's season's been awesome. Yeah. Who would your top 5 be in the best and fairest at the moment? Tough one, I know, but I'm just curious.
Very. Obviously, Steele's a mile clear. At front, I'd say Howard would have to be right up there. I'd say Sinclair. I'd say that's sort of a top 3. Then you've got another sort of option with Marshall, then Ryder and King, Memory, and all those sort of smalls. Even Higgins has shown glimpses this year.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah,
Then
he would have been useful yesterday. That's for sure. Like,
yeah, but I
if
feel
they
like
down-
Howard and Steele's been our best this year. Like
Yeah.
even Brad Crouch, which I didn't mention, has been brilliant since he's come in and really found form since suspension early in the year.
He was a bit down yesterday, though. I think he only
Yeah.
had 18 touches or something. Even Steele, I think Steele did he get tagged? Is that what happened yesterday? 'Cause he
I'm
only
not
had 18.
exactly sure, to be honest. I didn't really spot him all that much. It
Yeah,
was sort of a quiet day from his standards.
yeah. How was
Zach
the
Jones was brilliant, though.
How was the away fans like? Were they pretty up and about in the last quarter? Like, did we get
God.
enough fans there?
Yeah,
Or?
there was this one bloke sitting behind us all day. He was just shouting, "Ball, pushing the back." When it was one of those blokes just goes to the footy and just doesn't have a clue what he's talking about and just yells at the umpire all day. He's just
Was he a
doing
Saints
nothing
fan?
right. Sorry?
Was he a Saints fan?
No, he was a West Coast fan.
Oh, was he? Yeah, that's all they do, though. They
There
all
was this one in the second half, I think, or second quarter, third quarter, I think it was. Do you remember the one when, like, we were in the defensive 50 and there was one going across the goals and we completely missed our target, went out of bounds, and he's shouting at the umpire for deliberate, and I'm like, are you joking?
Yeah, I remember that. I was saying that on the couch to my girlfriend. I was like, they're all calling for deliberate. They all want deliberate there. A clear missed kick. So, but that's what you get in WA. Like, fun fact, I think the last 5 times we've been there, free kicks West Coast 95, St Kilda 39. So it's like, every 4 they get, we get 1 sort of thing. So
the West Coast fans were very passionate though yesterday. You could hear them. The atmosphere at the ground was absolutely electric.
Yeah, it's such a good ground, Optus. I've been there once a couple of years ago when we played Freo and we lost, but like they pumped like AC/DC before the game. The crowd sounds way louder than Marvel Stadium, so it's one of the best stadiums in the country at the moment.
It's a nice stadium.
What are your thoughts on the rest of the year before we head on to Catherine? What do you reckon?
This year it's going to be very tough, obviously, with Carlton, Geelong, Sydney, then Freo.
Yeah.
I reckon we should beat Carlton this week. That should be a game that we should win. I'm not sure we'll beat Geelong, considering what we watched today with Geelong battered.
Yeah, they're good.
With Richmond kicking 4 goals in the late stage of the game just to make it competitive in the end.
Yeah.
Sydney will be a tough game. I think, not sure whether that's in Melbourne or not because of COVID, but and then Freo's one. But I think it's really been a year of like missed opportunities for the Saints too. Just considering if you look at the Adelaide game, if you look at the poor kicking by Geelong and
Adelaide, Geelong, Sydney.
You look at the battering for the Dogs, Richmond and Essendon. It's just like just been a year of missed opportunities. So I do think finals is out of the question. I think we just got to reset with get all our injuries players back with like Hunter Clark, Payton, Geary, Marshall and all them back on the side and just reset for 2022.
Yeah, no, I think, last year was that kind of surprise year. This year's that stabilising, but also I think a learning year where we get to learn about Connolly, Burns, King can develop a bit more. Yeah,
that is a massive positive. This year.
Then next year we'll get the other troops back, the A graders that we need, plus the rest, and hopefully we can go from there. But appreciate your time, mate. Thanks for joining.
All right, thanks for having me.
No worries. Chat to you soon. Catch up.
See you later.
All right, Catherine.
Hello.
Sorry, you've been waiting a while.
No, you're so fine. I love listening to what everyone else has to say.
Yeah. How are you going?
I'm good. Like you said, some positives to take out of the game yesterday. But also, I don't know. I've been thinking about it all day. It's just been replaying in my head. I've got a question to ask you about yesterday, though, about our back line. I felt like it was super, I don't know, just watching it at home, obviously. I just felt like it was really dismantled. And I don't think we're lacking leadership because I definitely think we've got 2 really strong leaders in Wilkie and Howard. But I don't understand, do you think we were just simply outnumbered in their forward line yesterday or did something change?
Yeah, I'm guessing you're referring to that passage where Wilkie and Zach Jones as well, they had that little the little mini fight. Yeah, I think.
Everything that I've seen behind the scenes as well, like that little 3-minute clip that St Kilda posted on YouTube as well. You can just see that Wilkie has a really good voice, like a really good leadership voice as well. So I think he brings a lot to the backline in that sense.
Yeah, I think it's as simple as that we're just undersized. Like we've only really, when you think about it, we've only really got Dougal Howard as that fullback, and he's 2 meters, he's 200 centimeters. So he's a tall boy. He's as tall as Max King almost. Like he's massive. But then you've got the next best Wilkie, and he's probably 190, and that's shorter than Tim Membry. You know, so I think the last 2 weeks, even the Port Adelaide game, they knew Dixon, Georgiades, I think is his name. He kicked 4. They've got Todd Marshall. They've got all these talls there. They just knew what to do. Just play tall and isolate. And we're so good when we've got Caulfield, Highmore intercepting, and they support. They run off their man and do that. We just couldn't do that until maybe the last quarter yesterday, and that's why we got back into the game.
So do you think then in the trade period we should seek some height, but then it's who comes out? I can't say anyone, with the inclusion of Highmore, Caulfield, yes, and Hunter Clark, like who comes out of our backline then?
I don't know. I mean, I spoke to someone yesterday and I said that, the priority for off-season is get another key position defender. We need someone to help Dougal Howard. Even if, imagine Dukes gets injured next week. Like, when you think about who the hell goes where he goes, who plays fullback? We'll have to bring in Frawley, and Frawley's 34, and I don't think he's got a contract beyond this year. So it's a bit hard to throw in a 34-year-old when you want to play finals every year for the next 5 years.
I went to the game, where Frawley played and he didn't play much. It was the last before the lockdown happened. And if I didn't know who Frawley was, I wouldn't think, he's a St Kilda player. So, he didn't really do anything too stand out-ish, in my opinion. But, he definitely is not an adequate replacement for Howard.
No, and we don't have – I mean, it might be something we look at in the draft. I was thinking maybe we try and pinch a defender from another team that's experienced. They can just come in ready. But maybe it's worth using our first draft pick on a defender, because we don't have – we've got a few young forwards coming through, Allison, Sharman, King as well, is only 21. It's amazing. There's 3 there under the age of 22 that we have. We've got a lot of young midfielders now, Connolly, Burns, Bytel. Hunter Clark's only 22 or something. So there's a lot of youth there. But then you look at the back line, you're like, we've got Claverino and then, Caulfield and Highmore, but they're not key fullbacks. They're not key position. They're interceptors.
Yeah.
So
if we were to then get that key defender in the trade period, would you then just assume, I guess, that Caulfield and Clark would push up to the midfield, like with experience, because they both have the speed and they've both got probably, like if you look at our list, they're up there in terms of ball skills. So would you then put them in the midfield for that reason?
I think Highmore's pretty set on being a defender, but Caulfield, I think in his draft year, they did play him through the midfield, and he wanted, or at least he said that if St Kilda ever played him in the midfield, he'd be open to it because he's played there before. But the funny thing is, in his draft year, when he was a midfielder, he wasn't going to go top 10, and then they put him in the back line, and that's when he went top 10 because he was so much better in the back line. So it's like, I don't know, do you move him and then his form's not that good? And, like, where would he go in the midfield when you've got the midfield that we have now with Dunstan, and you've got Billings on one wing, Hill on the other? Like, does that work? Or does he become depth? But he's a top 10 draft pick, so it's like, are we throwing him away? Nah.
And we're also missing, like you said, Gresh, and then we've also got Josh Battle in the equation who doesn't know.
Yeah, that's another one that I'm like, we better not trade. Like, he's a player that I can just picture being traded, and then another team plays him at full forward where I've always wanted him to play, and he dominates 50 goals a year. And we've got him sitting there. So he's injured now, so it's a bit hard. But even before he was injured, I thought, geez, there's so much talent there that's just seemingly going to waste. What are your thoughts on the rest of the year? I know I get so many people messaging me after yesterday's game, like,
Yeah.
Jake, can we still make finals? Jake, is it over? Jake, I'm like, don't ask me. I hate these questions.
Oh, no, I don't blame you. Look, I'm not going to lie. I live on the ladder predictor because I am hopeful week in, week out. Otherwise, I would drive myself insane if I have any negative thoughts going into every week. So I think it's possible, but I hate having to rely on other teams. I feel like if we get to like the sole reliance on other teams, like if we do, I feel like I'm gonna touch wood while I say this. I feel like we can beat Geelong. If we got close to it at the start of the year, I feel like we can do it again. Especially if we've got Marshall back as well, and hopefully Highmore too. So I feel like hopefully the next 2 games are a lock-in for us. But yeah, I'm gonna say yes. I can see us making it. I can see us scraping in, and I can see Richmond finishing 9th, and that is just my dream come true. But yeah, I don't know. Fingers crossed.
I've got a better feeling about it now because GWS have beaten Essendon.
Yeah.
So that puts us down 1 position, but it's better for us anyway because we're only 2 points outside the 8, not a full game.
4 teams now stuck in the 8, is there? Yeah, 4 of us on 32 points.
Yeah, Saints, Fremantle, Richmond, Essendon, all on 32, and GWS. But here's a fun fact for next week, all right? So this is for everyone watching at home. Fremantle and Richmond are both on 32, and they're directly above us on the ladder. If you look at next week's fixture, it's Fremantle-Richmond. So one of them's going to lose, guaranteed. Yeah, so that's great. So we'll go above one of them if we beat Richmond. If we beat Carlton, Essendon are now out of the 8, and they play Sydney, who are flying.
Yeah,
so Sydney would be favourites, you reckon?
Yeah.
And then you've got GWS and West Coast in 8th and 7th. GWS play Port Adelaide.
Okay, that's a tough game.
Lose. Yep.
Yeah.
And West Coast travelling to Melbourne, and they play Collingwood at the MCG. So they might win that. But Collingwood at the MCG have actually been...
they've been okay.
Last week.
Yeah, exactly. And I watched the game this weekend, and there are definitely some promising signs coming out of. They've got heaps of youngsters that are looking really good. So, I can't believe I'll ever be cheering for Collingwood, but that week I will be.
So if those results go our way, by next Sunday we should be 9th.
Oh. Wow.
And then we play Sydney the week after. So
that'll be a good game. It'll be a tough
game. If it's in Melbourne, it'll be... Actually, I don't even care if it's not in Melbourne. We're pretty shit at Marvel now.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Just put it at the MCG.
I feel like our midfield, which is why I think we match up so well against Geelong as well, and I feel like we can get on top of Sydney if Brad Crouch has, a switched on game, and same with Hill. On paper, I know this is my Saints bias coming out, but, you look at our list and you're like, we're unstoppable. Like, what's going on? Why are we losing games? We've got the best midfield,
I know, I do that every week. I'm like, I just look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, we're not losing this game. And then like 10 minutes to go in the game, I'm like, we've lost this game.
I'm
so frustrating. And Hanbury too. Like, Hanbury might come back. So who knows? Hanbury back, Hunter Clark. He's only a week or 2. He's training, so...
That's very exciting. And I saw the footage of Patton running for the first time as well. So that's super exciting. So if we do make finals, or is he a year injury, do you know?
Patton, he'd be a full year, broken leg. So I reckon he'd do another couple of months of just running.
Okay.
Like we said today. Maybe he'll go from the treadmill to then the track. And then I reckon maybe pre-season next year, which would be like, I think December they start again, or early January, he would get back into just light training, and then February medium, and then hopefully March, April he'll be like ready to go and play. Yeah, if he can get in, because Jimmy Webster's taking his position.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Brings me back to my question before: who comes out for Patton?
I don't know.
We've got the best list on paper, don't we?
Absolutely. It's a top 2 list. Yeah.
It's a flawless.
Good signs ahead. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll chat to you soon, Catherine. Cheers.
That's good. Bye, Jay.
Yeah, bye. All right, next up we've got Geordie.
G'day, Jake. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. I'm feeling good after a loss for once. I didn't feel too bad. How are you feeling?
Well, I guess I would have been a little bit better about the loss if the internet didn't cut out at 3/4 time until 9 o'clock. So I missed out on the whole last quarter. I had to wait till halftime on the Dogs Demons game to actually find out what the final score was. So it was frustrating. That 'cause all I was thinking was how pissed off I'd be if we actually came back and I wasn't able to witness.
Yeah, that's like I think it was when we came back from like 50 points down against the Bulldogs like 5 years ago. All the Saints fans that just left at halftime, they'd got home and realised that we'd won. I should have. I guess you had no internet. I was going to say you could have checked Saints TV for the scores. But were you pretty shocked with how the turnaround with the score?
Yeah, I was given what the score was at 3/4 time. I thought, especially how we ended it with the goal for West Coast, I was surprised that we made that much of a turnaround.
Yeah, it was a complete turnaround from especially the second quarter, where it was like 2018, 2019 Saints, wasn't it? What was kind of your key take from the game? Have you watched the last quarter now? Have you seen?
I still haven't seen the last quarter yet. So from the first 3 quarters I've seen, it just seemed to be the Alan Richardson game plan of just bombing it inside 50 constantly.
Yeah.
So a lot of the disposals I saw Zach Jones got as well. A lot of them seem to be bombs, sort of like directly to the West Coast defenders as well, which they cleaned up, as you'd imagine.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Paul Hunter? How do you think he went?
Ever since the practice matches, I've been no rap for Paul Hunter. So
it's a bit. Do you think he's all the commentary around it from us saying is a bit unfair? Because I feel like it's a bit unfair because he's forced into it in a way.
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit but I guess, but when there's other players that I reckon would be better to come in instead of Paul Hunter. Paul Hunter, definitely is an up to AFL standard.
Yeah, I guess well, it's slim pickings, isn't it? Like when we picked him up, we had a fit Marshall, fit Paddy. I guess if anything, it's forced us to look at younger ruckman, and we've drafted Max Smith. You know? He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I've liked the looks of him. He looks really good.
Yeah. What was your biggest highlight from yesterday? From the 3 quarters that you saw, you missed so much good. So
it probably would have been King's goal from right on 50. That one was really the what got him going.
I haven't seen him kick a footy that well.
Yeah.
Like from 50, he kicked it like off a couple of steps, and he doesn't even look like he's kicking through it. Like I just wonder how far he could actually kick if he tried.
Yeah, I remember when in 2018 when they were showing clips from the VFL. I remember that they showed him kicking a set shot from the centre square. I think it was.
So he's capable.
Yeah.
Because moments before he kicked that 50-metre goal, he took a mark on the other side of the 50 at the same distance and everything, but he's gone to pass it. And I'm just thinking, if you can kick it from there, mate.
Yeah.
Josh Kennedy does. Tom Hawkins does.
It was just like the one it would have been in the second or third quarter where it was in the pocket, and then he's decided to chip it off, and it's gone straight to the West Coast players. I thought with how he's been kicking, he should have really gone for it, I reckon. It would have been a goal like that would have been a real team lifter.
Yes. Now, I've asked everyone this, and everyone's given me a pretty similar answer, but finals off the agenda, or I want some more.
The squiggle after Essendon losing as well. Seeing we can actually drop the Geelong game. We should still make it. So
exactly. That's what I had. I said we beat. Who do we play? Carlton. We beat them. We need to beat Sydney. That's going to be probably the biggest game of the year for us. Drop Geelong and beat Freo. Imagine beating Fremantle in the last game of the year and you make the 8 because of it.
Yeah.
That'd be a dream.
Yeah.
Are you a Victorian fan, or are you in
Yeah.
lockdown as well?
Yeah, yeah.
How's that going for you?
I get footy. I guess is the only thing that's sort of keeping me sane besides being a Kilda.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's not a good combination, mate. When you've got
Yeah.
footy plus St Kilda to keep
Yeah.
you sane, usually that's like the combination.
Yeah.
Of insane. So to keep you
Yeah.
sane is a that's an interesting one. But thanks for joining, mate. I've got a couple more to go through. If that's cool.
Yeah. All
but
good.
Do you reckon? Give me your opinion, fan cam. Do you reckon keep doing this? Get it on board.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of it. I've been a big rep for Blue Broads one as well.
Yeah,
so,
they're fantastic. Yeah. He's a great guy, Terry. He's doing a good job. So hopefully I can get it going after the Carlton game. And if you want, hop on there and we'll have a chat again.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Cheers,
Take
Jake.
care. See you, mate.
You too.
All right, Nathan, mate.
Shit.
Yeah, you're on. What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just came away from work. So my name on this.
What do you do for work?
Woolies.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
How's how you feeling after yesterday? Give me all the emotions.
So
Oh, sick.
yeah, it was. We're like 30 points down. I was a bit down about it. I was thinking that the Saints were just going to like fall over, like we did against the Bulldogs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we just kept chipping back. I thought we were a challenge because I was like 20 points, fourth quarter. We did it against them earlier in the year. Just didn't go our way really. So
do you think that's the
So what was the game? Oh yeah. No, I was more relieved that the game ended when it did. So I couldn't keep on going. I was like Sinclair kicked a goal, then it was another goal, then back and forth, and I was glad it ended when it did in a way. So
it's just too painful because that's what Saints do, don't they? They're like, we're going to lose, but no, we're not. But we're going to lose, and then they just keep giving you that little bit of hope. But
yeah,
for me, like the most frustrating thing about the game was anytime we kicked a goal, they just kicked a goal like within 30 seconds. Is that the same for you? Like, cool. We're within 8 points. We have a chance. 2 minutes to go, and then Dom Sheed kicks a goal, and you're like that just killed you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, being at the game was even worse. The Eagle fans, there's something else.
Are they? I haven't been to the West Coast game in Perth yet.
You don't want to go.
They can't be worse than the Port Adelaide fans in Adelaide. Have you been to Adelaide Oval? That's pretty bad.
I don't want to go to Adelaide. There's nothing there.
Look at it's probably 5 out of 10 on the state scale, I have to say. Max King, seeing that live. Tell me about it.
No, that was amazing. That was, man, it was good seeing him play, but I was on the other side of the ground, so I just got like a tiny little view of him, but it was still good to see him like finally find his feet for once and not like sort of take a step here and there and not want to go for the ball like he was taking the game on.
Yeah.
And my big difference was his second attempt at the ball. Like earlier in the year, he'd kind of give it a crack and he wouldn't get his way, so he'd just stand still. But like this game, he actually gave like a second or third attempt and it kept us in the game for most of it. So
that's exactly how Membry kicked that goal, if you remember, where I think he went to lead up for the ball and I think McGovern went to mark it, but it went out the back and King just turned and got the handball over the top and Membry snapped it. I think that was in the last quarter. But that's something like, you said, when the ball went to ground, King was just kind of not interested earlier in the year. And now anytime the ball's within 5 meters, it's like, that's mine. I'm getting that. Which is...
Yeah, it was good to see from him.
Yeah. Do you think we lost, but the best part about the game on top of Max King obviously was we didn't get blown out of the water? Because the second quarter, like you said, it looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
We just
like a 10 or 15 minute patch in the second quarter where we weren't interested. It was kind of like we'll let the Eagles have their way.
Yeah.
And then we just turned it around. We said we'll have our way, but it wasn't enough. So what
was what happened in the last quarter from what you saw? Did we start like I think I asked Mo earlier in the fan cams, but did we start working harder? Like, why don't we do that the whole game?
Like in the last quarter, it was like we kind of realized that we need to win the game. And then, like, since like I could see the entire ground, we actually worked hard to get the structure in place. Like when we got the clearance, all of our players were set up. Unlike the first quarter, we didn't have anyone set up, and then Hill would kick the ball to where he'd think someone would be, and it'd be a turnover. So
yeah, I'd love to know. Is that like the players just suddenly just clicking and switching on? Did Rats do something at 3/4 time that changed the dynamic? Like, I would hate to think the players just decided that the game had to be won and we just played all out attack. Because I've always felt that. I don't know about you, but I feel like we are so much better when we're trying to come from behind in a game. Like when we're down by 2 or 3 goals, we love chasing a game, but we don't love leading from the front. We don't like being front runners where teams can get us. What do you think? Do you think that's true?
yeah, we get too complacent. Like I was at work during the Collingwood game, but I watched the replay of it, and we got in front, and we thought, yeah, it's Collingwood, we'll beat them, and we got complacent, and we nearly lost it. But say a game like Brisbane, where we weren't behind, but we were still in it, and we just took the game on. And since we took it on, we played on, and we did what we had to do. It was an easy win for us. Like it looked easy against Brisbane in the last quarter.
It did. I was with my mate. He's a mad Brisbane fan, and we had wine and ordered some food in, and he wasn't super confident going into the game, but I could tell looking at his eyes. I'm like, he's saying, "Oh, I hope it's a close game," but deep down he knew like Brisbane should win, and then they didn't win, and even he was shocked at how easy we made it look. But I guess that it could make other Saners more angry that we're not in the 8, because with that sort of football, that would be, wouldn't that beat anyone? It would be. It's a top 4 type performance.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling how like 1 week we go from saying season's on the line, we'll push at all costs, and then the next week against say Port, it was kind of we got complacent the second the ball got bounced. It was like, oh, all their good players are out. We'll just play around with the ball, and we ended up losing it.
Yeah.
So,
well, we can't afford to be complacent in any game for the rest of the year. If we want like any sort of chance of making finals, I've asked everyone so far, and I'm going to ask you too, mate. Deep down, how you feel the next 4 weeks? Are we going to be talking finals in 4 weeks, or do you think it's over?
Easily.
It's over?
I reckon we'll make it easily. Yeah.
Oh,
We had 10 of our best 22 out against West Coast on their home deck, and we pushed them to that. We get Rowan Marshall back next week, I'm pretty sure. Hannibals to come back.
Mackenzie.
We'll get some good.
Can't forget him. Yep. So you're feeling pretty good now?
Yeah, we'll get it easy, yeah.
Easy. All right. I'm loving that.
Yeah, it is.
Well, if we do, mate, you better hop on a fan cam and we'll cheers with the red wine and celebrate finals. But until then, thank you for joining. We'll hop on the court now. But yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully you can hop on for the next one.
Yeah, see you, Jake.
All right, see you, Nathan. Catch you, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, Court.
Hey, Jake. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's a nice Sunday night. Just thought I'd hop on and chat with a few Saners and see how everyone's feeling after yesterday. How are you feeling?
Oh, good. Like, I was so proud of how the boys played. I think, we were competitive for a lot of the game, and seeing Kingy have such a great game after so many people have been smashing him for so long, forgetting his tenure and everything. That just felt so good to watch that. And particularly because it wasn't just the goals he kicked, it was his presence, his dominance, his marking, the confidence. It was just so good seeing that. So there were some good signs, but shit not to get the win.
Yeah, there was so much about the performance other than the score that I was like, tick, that was good. Tick, we played well, but Jack Steele didn't dominate. You have to forget, you forget that he only had 18 touches, and we were missing Rowan Marshall. So it's like, if Steele's not at his best and you're missing your best ruckman, and you're against Nick Natanui with Sheed and Gaff and Tim Kelly, who went crazy in the second quarter, it's like, you take an 8-point loss. I mean, you take any sort of
Absolutely.
performance that got that close to winning.
Yeah, 100%. And just, to put in close to a 4-quarter effort, we've had some,
Yeah.
pretty ups and downs this season.
Yeah.
So I think that was good to see. Good to see some of our young kids playing really well. I was a
Yeah.
bit disappointed with Crouch and Membry, and even Ross to a degree, I guess, better in the second half. But, we've got some good young players coming through. So I just keep thinking that, next year, the depth that we're going to feel like we have because we've been able to bleed a lot of these players.
Yeah, and that's, you look at, here's a good example, even Essendon maybe. Essendon have had some players that have been out. Dylan Shields been out. They missed their captain for a long time. They've found so many youngsters and they were forced to because of that. And now you look at them. I mean, they lost today, which is good for us. So awesome that they lost.
Yeah.
But you have to expose your list. And last year we didn't really have to do that. Like I think Vital was the only player that debuted.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. And King, obviously,
and
King. But this year it was Burns, Connolly, Vital, Cleverino, Highmore.
And how good's Connolly looking?
I mean,
especially last week.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, those kicks, like that was
the left foot. Holy crap! That left foot against Port Adelaide. That's the best kick I've seen this year from anyone.
Oh, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Like that's what makes me excited. Getting our best 22 back, and then having all these other players that we're going to be able to rely on. Though it'll be interesting to see who comes out in the trade period, though.
Yeah, who do you think? Actually, I haven't asked anyone about this, but there's Billings, Dunstan, and Seb Ross that are the big three that aren't signed.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm a bit worried about losing Dunstan. I think Billings maybe, though I was interested with the talks this week that it sounds like he might be getting close to signing. So, to me then maybe we would lose Dunstan, which disappointing after, he's had a crack a couple of weeks. But again, I felt like we missed some of his aggression yesterday as well. Like the boys just, I feel like over the last couple of weeks we've showed a lot more aggression, and that's worked really well for us. I felt like that was a bit missing yesterday from Dunstan and the others.
Yeah, even Benny Long, he's always like in the last 4 weeks, like you said, we've had that physicality, and it's been mainly from Dunstan, Ben Long, and Dan McKenzie. Obviously, he's been out, but those three have been the guys that they add that extra bump or that tackle. They throw a guy down. They just play.
Love it.
They give away a few free kicks, but it just sets the tone. It's like we're not going to be pushed around. And West Coast kind of got away with that a little bit because they're big.
Absolutely.
West Coast are a big team.
And that was one of our biggest issues yesterday, wasn't it? Like their height, they just felt so much taller in the forward line and in the back line. Like, I feel like our back line have done such a brilliant job over the last 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
But, from the first quarter, we just, I don't know, they just didn't seem like, I don't know, they were very cohesive. But I think it was just, the tallness in the West Coast lineup really came through quickly.
Do you think that was a selection problem? Do you think Rats and the selection committee stuffed up and should have brought in people think maybe Frawley should have played, and then you can allow Wilkie to play that more. He's not really your prototype sort of interceptor, but Wilkie loves leading his man and then helping out Dubes or helping out Caulfield or Highmore. He does that. And same with Caulfield and Highmore. They do that as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Would you have picked Frawley or any other players?
I don't know. The thing is, I don't know. I'm not Frawley's biggest fan. I think, the couple of games he's played this year, very few. I know he's struggled with injuries, but I don't know. I do think the height probably would have helped, but I'm not convinced that we've seen him at his best, this year, that he could have made a big enough difference as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a challenge. I really like the backline that we've got, but I do think that we could use a little bit more height in there if we can pick, an experienced one up next year. Yeah,
and I guess when you look at when we're at our best, like so much drive comes from the back half because you've got plays there, Sinclair, Webster, those three together create all that drive. And I guess, me being like if I was putting my Brett Ratton hat on and thinking like him, I'd be like, cool, we could be taller, and that's us playing, to stop West Coast, but Ratton loves to play to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't really worry about the opposition's strengths, probably as much as he should. He likes to just be like, we'll play our way and let them worry about us. And I guess for me, he picks the back line that's going to rebound the quickest. And if you're tall, like if Frawley plays instead of a Caulfield, you don't really get the same amount of drive. So I wonder if he's done that.
And, I think what was interesting about yesterday as well is West Coast seemed to man up really well, and their structure when we were, kicking out and when they were kicking out. And I think that's usually a strength of our game, is to do that really well. But because, they came out knowing what style they wanted to play, and their kicks and the bloody hit 110 marks or whatever it is. And we just, we didn't, I don't feel like we were prepared enough for the type of game that they wanted to play, which I usually love. Like, I love that we want to play the game on our terms. But, I think you also need to be prepared for the opposition that you're playing against.
Yeah, and that's a question I've always had pretty much from the start of the year, is the coaching support that Ratton has around him. I'm not saying that any of them deserve to be sacked or anything just yet, because from where we were 2 years ago to now, the team this year would still smash our 2019 and 18 teams, and we're probably not going to make finals. That's how much better we are. It's just that we've been unlucky with injuries. We've got the hardest fixture for some reason. There's so much against us. But on the flip side, there's so much that we've learned. Maybe hypothetically, if we didn't get injuries and, we got a better fixture and we made finals, but we didn't win a grand final, would we have learnt about the issues that we did after the Adelaide loss?
100%.
We had the membership Q&A and everything. I don't know if you watched it, but members were asking all these questions and everything. Do you think this year is actually going to be more important than we think?
Yeah, I think it's hard because as Saints fans, we all just, we want to get further than we did last year. But, you look at what we've learned. I think, the boys have now seen that they can recover when we're in a bad place. I think that was a huge learning for us. I think, all the players that we've been able to, start to build their depth and their confidence and everything with. So, I'd like to say that we'll be thankful for this in a year or two, but in the moment, you just want to get further.
In the moment, I know. I just want to skip ahead to this time next year and be like, hey, Cole, remember last year we talked about this? We were right. We're so good now. That's what I want. I'll go back to this fan cam and be like, we spoke about it. We called it.
I'm with you. And good on them for what they did after that mid-season break. Hey, the transformation that we saw, and the accountability and the game plan coming together, and the way that the boys are all working together, it feels really good. But it would be good just to not be teetering on the edge of these bloody finals.
Well, the first 10 games of the year, I think we had 4 or 5 losses over 50 points. Right? It was terrible. Our percentage was so crap. But since the Sydney loss, I think it was a Sydney loss, that was a 9-point loss, I think. Then we lost by 6 to Adelaide. We had the bye, and then we won 3 in a row. And since then, we've lost a couple by 11. And what was yesterday's loss? 8 points or something.
Yeah.
So they're all within three goals. They're there.
It's a different team, isn't it?
Yeah. So you just wonder, with a fit team, what we could do.
I know, and missing Rowe was rough. I feel like with Hunter in, again, he's not part of our best 22, but it also felt like in the moment we weren't setting up really well around him. He was never going to beat Nick Nat. So I felt like our positioning could have been better in the centre as well. But, we're a different team when Rowe's in it.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it, but hopefully this is that learning year. And I mean, we are still a chance to final. So you're the last person on the fan cams. I'm going to ask you the same question.
Yep.
In 4 weeks' time, are we playing finals or are we not?
We are. I bloody hope we are.
I was going to say, what a bad way. What a bad way to end
ending,
fan cams. If you're like,
no, we're going to do it.
Okay, see ya. That would have been such a shit way to finish. But I like that enthusiasm, and I'm of the belief we can do it too. We need to smash Carlton though, not beat them, smash them on the weekend. So it starts there.
Absolutely.
But thanks for joining, Court. That's it
No
for
worries. Thanks, Jake.
Fan. So thank you for joining, and
Have a great
hopefully
week,
you
mate.
come again soon. No worries, you too. Catch ya.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Well, there you go, everyone. Thank you for joining fan cams against round 19 fan cams against West Coast yesterday. So appreciate everyone sharing your thoughts and joining for the first iteration of it. The next one hopefully will be after the Carlton game, live or not. It'll be there somewhere or another. So thanks everyone for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week and go your mighty Saners. See you guys.